I think another question that the Fox poll asked was about does the Israeli strikes make the world more dangerous? And 59% said yes to that. So you can, as usual with polling, you can find the answer that you want in there. And I would say it's a uniform feeling that people know that Iran is an adversary, that they don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. But once you start having a conversation about regime change, Americans get very skittish about this. And it was the first time, at least, that I had heard a senator mention it this morning. Tom Tillis was being interviewed, and he said it's time for regime change. And that is something that really flies in the face of Donald Trump, the peacetime president, or Donald Trump as the campaigner.
There is a chain of events that we can always sort of expect with Donald Trump. He wakes up. He melts down. He continues to lose his mind throughout the rest of the day. But there are some mornings that especially set him off, like today, when he got some bad polling from his Fox propaganda outlet that drove him so crazy. He started attacking Fox. Yes, but we know that already. Trump gets angry. He loses his mind. He rage posts. He moves on. But apparently, he hasn't moved on because Donald Trump decided to go back to the well with his anger and share an insane video because of his morning meltdown that we are going to check out. But before we do, I want to start with the only host at Fox that we can actually tolerate talking about those poll numbers for Trump. That was Jessica Tarlov breaking some even more bad news before we get into the very strange video Trump posted.
And that is something that really flies in the face of Donald Trump, the peacetime president, or Donald Trump as the campaigner. I think that if this is packaged as we are going to take out their nuclear weapons, but we are not trying to take over their country, and we're not going to get engaged in decades-long wars that we have no business being in, people remember what that was like, and they don't enjoy it. It's also interesting to me, Senator Mark Warner, who is the ranking Democrat on the Intel Committee, was echoing what Tulsi Gabbard had testified to back in March, where she essentially said, Iran is not on the precipice of having this weapon.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. I don't think Mark Warner has any reason to back up Tulsi Gabbard for fun, right? He didn't vote for her. He doesn't think that highly of her. And so I believe that Bibi Netanyahu is taking advantage of the situation, and he knows that Trump is going to back him up, and that Trump believes that the Israelis have earned this. I'm going to use the point, Greg, that I was supposed to make 2 days ago, that he has faith in the Israelis to be doing what's in quote unquote, the best interests of the region. But you're going to have a real issue if this turns into a redux, putting aside the topography of Iran, of what we have already seen before, and you're not going to have an American appetite for it. I also wanted to note, I was listening to Admiral Stavridis, I always mess up pronouncing his name, and he was talking about the implications of hitting Fordo, and he said you could essentially be creating a dirty bomb. So you explode this nuclear facility, and then you have enriched uranium just flying around in the sky, and you could be poisoning people. And that's something that I hadn't heard discussed before, and should be a consideration. But if Israel can essentially get rid of their missile capacity, just, wear them out, maybe that's what the 2 weeks is. We'll see what they have after 2 weeks.
Can I throw in one?
I know Donald Trump has now been getting his foreign policy advice not from his Secretary of Defense or his Director of National Intelligence. No, Donald Trump has been getting it from the Fox propaganda outlet. So I hope desperately that he is tuning in to Jessica Tarlov, telling him how unpopular it would be for us to spend trillions of dollars for Donald Trump to what seemingly boost his approval rating. He thinks with a war. I honestly think that's what this is about, especially in the wake of this horrible polling, that Donald Trump always needs a distraction, but he thinks pulling us into a war, I think he believes, will boost his approval rating. That's not going to be the case. It's probably why he shared this insane video. But before we get into it, of course, we need the context of Donald Trump's meltdown this morning. Trump lashes out at Fox News over devastating new poll. Donald Trump slammed a Fox News poll Thursday on Truth Social, accusing the network's pollsters of being always wrong and negative. The crooked Fox News poll got the election wrong. I won by much more than they said I would, and have been biased against me for years, Trump wrote, referring to the 2020 election, which Fox correctly said that he lost It's why MAGA hates Fox News. Even though their anchors are great, I hate fake pollsters, one of the worst, but Fox will never change their discredited pollster, he added. A Fox News poll released on Wednesday shows the majority of voters disapprove of Trump's job performance by an 8-point margin. The poll, regarded as one of the best in the country, found the majority of voters are still feeling pessimistic about the state of the economy. So Donald Trump woke up, saw the bad news, rage posted, attacking Fox. He usually leaves it there and is done and moves on. But oh no, not this time, because he decided to share his own version of a poll in a ridiculous clip that he posted on Truth Social. Just take a look at how bad Donald Trump is coping, as his feelings were so hurt.
What, are you kidding me? 56% approval in a brand new Rasmussen poll for President Trump. 56% of the American people think he's doing a great job. That is a landslide. That is awesome. And you consider everything he's up against and everything he's going through and everything that, all the innovation that he's come up with and the constant loud opposition of the media, and his numbers at 56%. You know who that beats? Ronald Reagan at this point in his second term, just 52%. It reminds me, the Gipper and President Trump together. Isn't this an amazing picture? The two of them at some function at the White House. Look at that. We got the 40th president and the 45th and the 47th president all in one spot. It's pretty awesome. So, 56%. That is historic. I always knew that actually President Trump's vision would be popular. What's really not to like about it? When you get through all of the rhetoric and the distortions, make America great again, having borders, not sexualizing children, not getting into forever wars and then not winning them, it just has mass appeal. And you think about where he was a year ago, not even a year ago. He was still going through all of this nonsense, all of this crap. And today, 56% in the polls. That's important. It's not just some number. It's important for him to get his agenda completed, right? People respond. People in the Beltway, they respect a number like that.
Trump saying that Rasmussen is like the most trusted poll is actually hilarious to me. We know that Fox is a propaganda network, but their pollsters are actually pretty good and are usually accurate in getting a read of the national sentiment on any issue. So I know that Fox, the whole institution, not particularly sound their polling well done, RASM. On the other hand, not even a chance that it's remotely close to accurate. And I think it's funny that they were prepared and ready to whip up a poll with a huge approval rating for Donald Trump, which he was never even close to, even at the beginning of his term, right? As Fox comes out with one that crushes him. I don't even trust this stuff to be accurate. Like, I don't want to get into conspiracy hour here, but like, do we not know that Fox is about to come out with a new poll? So Rasmussen, Donald Trump's propagandist, polar pollster, is like is churning one out, ready to make sure that Trump has something to point to and say, oh, look, I'm so great. And of course, he's going to share it on Truth Social, and all of his cooks are going to eat it up, but this is nowhere near the case. Donald Trump only continues to get more and more unpopular as more and more people understand what his agenda will be doing to their lives. It's so important for that reason that we do not let him distract us with shiny objects here or a fight or two there, that Donald Trump is failing in every regard in Congress, in the courts. Donald Trump's immigration plan continues to be stymied, not only because it's illegal, but because it is unpopular. And how unpopular it is being shown in huge ways in protests and standing up to him. And we saw that on the ground in LA today as the Dodgers, yes, the Los Angeles Dodgers told Donald Trump to shove it with his deportations. And I want to check out an on-the-ground report of just that. A clip right here.
Enforcement. For more on that, let's bring in NBC News correspondent Jacob Sobroff, who is outside Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Jacob, good to see you. What can you tell us?
Alicia, it was a very tense scene here earlier at Dodger Stadium, and you can see that everybody has sort of dissipated for now. There's a couple of protesters left. In fact, I'll just show you sort of the remnants of the protesters that are here right now. You can see that there's a couple of people still milling about, but what we understand is that there's going to be a protest again at 7 o'clock Eastern time tonight here. There's a game between the Dodgers and Padres coming up this evening, and the Dodgers have been at the center of this conversation about all of these wide-scale immigration enforcement playing out across Los Angeles. You had those agents that were staging here after a series of immigration enforcement raids this morning at Home Depot in Hollywood, reportedly at a Costco in the Los Feliz neighborhood, in Paramount reportedly. There are potentially agents that were exercising an immigration enforcement activity. Even in the Coachella Valley in the desert, there are reports of immigration enforcement today. When I talked to Tom Homan the first Saturday of this immigration enforcement operation, he said, we're going to be doing this every day. Some days will be big, some days will be small. This feels like a big day. And to have this all taking place at Dodger Stadium has a particular significance to people here in Los Angeles. The Dodgers have not yet issued the statement that you mentioned about how they're dealing with these ongoing immigration enforcement raids in Los Angeles. Jaime Jarrín, the legendary Dodgers broadcaster, has spoken out about what's happening in Los Angeles. Kike Hernandez of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it's all, I think, going to play out again in front of everybody tonight when the Dodgers face off against the Padres this evening, where we expect protesters to show up again, Alicia.
So, Broff, you mentioned the significance of Dodger Stadium. What is that significance?
Well, when Walter O'Malley brought the Los Angeles Dodgers here in the 1950s, there was a vibrant Latino community in Chavez Ravine, the neighborhood behind me. Palo Verde, Bishop, and La Loma were the names of the three neighborhoods. If you haven't read the book called Stealing Home by Eric Nussbaum, it's one of my favorites. It's great. Those communities were forcibly removed, evicted from Dodger Stadium, and there has been a love-hate relationship, I think it is fair to say, with the community here in Los Angeles. The majority of the Dodger fan base today is Latino, as is the population of Los Angeles. But the history of Dodger Stadium is one that is a very painful one for many Latinos in Los Angeles and many people all throughout Los Angeles. So to see this play out here today is a reminder of times past and a reminder of what we've been going through over the course of the last 2 weeks or so and what might play out in the days and weeks ahead, Alicia.
You have raids, it's my understanding, picking up across your city. Your sense of the level of fear, of frustration in immigrant communities, understanding, of course, that immigrant communities are very much interlaced with those of us who have U.S. citizenship.
Fear is maximum. Fear is maximum because this has not stopped. And every day in a different corner of Los Angeles, you have seen something take place. Let me just swing the camera around right here. Downtown Los Angeles, just so you know, Alicia, is right in the distance. It's behind some of these trees, the palm trees right here. But in Chinatown, which is just below us, down the street that you're looking at right now, there were raids on some of the first days here in Los Angeles. To the other direction, this way, is Cypress Park, where that Home Depot on one of the first days of the raids took place. And I talked about on this very broadcast, those day laborers were taken from street corners, or at least attempted to be taken. And that scene plays out in a different corner of Los Angeles almost on a daily basis. It's a county of 10 million people, over 500 square miles. And it seems like I feel like in talking to people on the ground every day that they feel like ICE is everywhere. And that is terrifying, not just undocumented folks, but mixed status families with children in Los Angeles public schools, mixed status families who have people in their church or in their workplace. Everyone knows somebody who's affected by this here in this city, and the protests, especially on Saturday, that have been largely peaceful, are all about, not about Donald Trump, not about anger at the administration. It's about getting ICE out of Los Angeles, and everything else comes after that because this affects people's day-to-day lives.
Donald Trump talked extensively about how he viewed his immigration policy as the single thing most responsible for getting him elected. Now, in my opinion, it might be the single most unpopular thing he's doing in terms of how much it is being discussed. Sure, Donald Trump cutting Medicaid would be a disaster for his approval rating. And it's what he's doing. And it's what we'll see as a result. But I have not seen more social media videos from people who are typically apolitical. More sharing of protest information, more pushback online throughout the beginning of this presidency than I have with this issue. People are fighting back, of course, especially in LA, but it's all around the country, and there's nothing Trump can do about that bad press, so we're going to continue to cover it like AOC said. And we always repeat on the show because Democrats get so scared too often. Donald Trump's immigration plan was never popular. We just weren't working hard enough to make it unpopular. Let's do that work. We're going to be on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.